This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
Hi and welcome to another edition of The Away End in association with Tilton Talk's chief sponsor, AMG Logistics. AMG Logistics are also a sponsor of Birmingham City Football Club. We go into the game at the weekend after a 2-0 win against Leyton Orient, which with our game in hand takes us 9 points clear at the top of the table. However, Saturday is the big one, first versus second. 12:30 sees Birmingham looking to continue their unbeaten run in both the league and at home, and hoping to extend the lead at the top into double figures, against, though, a very good and consistent Wycombe side. Wycombe come into the game after the back of a 0-0 last weekend, and a run of form that sees 3 draws and 2 wins in the last 5 games. Between ourselves, the last 5 have seen 3 wins for Birmingham, 1 draw and 1 loss. So, Dan, from the good old HP or Heroes of HP12 podcast, thank you very much for joining us to go through the upcoming game. So first of all, tell us a little bit more about Wycombe and what we can expect at the weekend. Obviously, we started the season playing each other, but very early doors for both clubs. Changes have taken place, especially with the loss of your manager and a new management team now in place. So tell us what to expect and what are the differences from the start of the season, players, who should we watch out for? And I guess, now that we're further into the season, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses? And then finally, where do you think you'll end up?
That's all a very loaded question, isn't it? No, I'll answer it the best I can. I mean, when we first played each other back in August, it feels like an age ago, doesn't it?
Yeah, indeed.
But back when we were playing each other, I mean, obviously you'd had a lot of change. You'd had a lot of new players coming in, but we had as well. And it was our second game, and we'd just come off the back of a 3-2 loss to Wrexham away at Wrexham. And obviously it was quite a tight game then. I mean, obviously, look, you dominated a bit more, but we feel like we held our own and obviously nearly nicked a result really from you. But since then, obviously, we went on quite a significant run of wins, not even draws. We were winning every game, and looked pretty unstoppable. But obviously, naturally, when you've got a team of our size, overperforming, when it comes to the January transfer window, you fear for the worst. Your team's going to get picked apart. And I mean, in the grand scheme of things, our collateral damage has only been the loss of Aaron Morley, who was quite instrumental. He came in actually after we played you, and was really kind of core to that run. And then we lost our manager as well, Matt Bloomfield, to Luton. So, we've undergone a significant period of change even in the last 2 months. So, if we were having this conversation at the beginning of January with the position that we were in, we potentially could have been having an entirely different conversation at all. So I think the fact for us is the fact that we are at the moment, touch wood, and remain to be 3 points ahead of Wrexham in second. Yep. We're still in second place coming into March. And holding our own at the top of the table. We only lost 4 this season. Since the beginning of the year, since the loss to Charlton at the end of December, we've only lost against Huddersfield, and that was a 1-0. So, whereas we've been picking up more draws than we have previously, we're still picking up points. So we're quite happy with where we are. But that's been, we've bolstered significantly. I mean, we've essentially bought 12, 13 new players in the January transfer window, as we kind of look to strengthen quite a bit. Depth was one thing that we were really positive about. We rotated well during that run.
Yeah.
At the end of last season, at the end of 2024 even. And I think it's it's one of those where at the moment we've got those new players kind of slowly embedding themselves into a system that works already. So you kind of go into the mentality thinking, well, it ain't broke, so you don't need to fix it. But we've still
Yeah.
got players in there that are really high quality. So we're kind of seeing a bit of a new transition again ourselves and having to change again, a couple of times over a season's a bit exhausting really as a Wycombe fan. But to say we've come out of it and we're in second place, we're quite happy with where we are.
Please tell me you're enjoying it, though. I mean, it's
Yeah.
as a Birmingham fan, you dread it. It's that relegation word, and everybody's like, "Oh God, no, that's the end of the world." But actually, it's been a reset button for us, and I think I suppose for yourselves, it's been very, very similar. Resetting, starting again, and as
Yeah.
you said, you're building the nucleus now of a squad that's capable of getting you out of this division, but then also a squad that is capable of holding its own in the championship.
Mm.
And I'm guessing, your owner's going to have the same aspirations as everybody's, which is when you're in the championship, you don't want to remain there. You want to become one of the top dogs in the Premier League.
Yeah. No, it's a really strange period of time for us as Wycombe fans because, as you'll have known, I mean, I was just having a look through our previous encounters prior to obviously our championship season during the COVID years. But prior to that, my game that I remember last and the last time I came to St Andrews was actually in the League Cup when Peter Unlove scored for you back in 2000. So
Indeed,
that's
going
how
back
long
a fair
ago it
few
was.
years.
Yeah, yeah, you had Jeff Forcefield then, an absolute legend as well. So, yeah, they were good times. But, you know, we've always had that small club kind of mentality. We're all very close knit as a kind of community, and not to say that larger clubs aren't because they're larger, but it's always been very much a family
Yeah.
focused kind of club. So we've gone from a transition. Obviously, the new owners have come in, and they're really building on an infrastructure that was essentially probably National League level for many years. We've essentially very quickly gone from a club that was would budget for a National League kind of campaign to one where we've spent quite a lot quickly to bring in a new academy that we had to close down because of financial troubles, down to bringing up a training facility that's going to be able to compete in the championship. So,
Indeed.
we've undergone such a massive transformation. I mean, we broke our transfer record twice in the January window, so we're still kind of coming to terms with that. But you're absolutely right in what you say. It's key for us now. You can tell the signings that we made in the window are those looking at the championship in mind and staying in the championship. And the owners have come in with the aspirations of obviously championship sustainability and doing that in a sustainable way. But then long-term goals of getting into the Premier League, which for us is just unheard of. So we're enjoying the ride. We're absolutely enjoying the ride, and the fact that we're second place and everything else is lovely. As I can see, Birmingham fans are as well. It's always an interesting one because we've been obviously apart from that championship year, we've been in League One for quite a while. And when you have your Derby and your Sunderlands come down from the Championship, kind of expect to absolutely romp the league straight away. And they found it a lot harder than potentially they might have done. I think obviously the fact that you've got owners who quite clearly care about the longer term sustainability of the club and are building for the Championship. I mean, look, you've broken some pretty crazy transfer records this year, and I would probably, if you weren't in the position you're in, I would deem it a failure. If you weren't there, because you should be with the quality that you've brought in, but that's you playing the cards that you got dealt. So it's really good to kind of see that after the years that you've had of struggle and turmoil and things like that, and watching that from afar, from my perspective, it's nice to see people enjoying their football again.
Yeah, and I think the feel good factor has been there since really the start of the season. I think we played each other very early in the season. The transfer window hadn't even closed, so like for the likes of us, yeah, we were linked with players, but we never expected, for example, on transfer deadline day in August, to say that we had not only broken but totally smashed the League One
Oh
player
no.
record by signing Jay Stansfield, and it was like a dream because he played against us in the League Cup. He'd scored
Yeah.
against us in the League Cup. So to have that happen was just like, wow, this really sets out a stall. But I still go back to the fact that you can have the best players, but they've got to gel. And not just that, they've got to have a continual basis of winning games because it would be very, very easy for it to have gone completely the opposite way. Nobody came
Yeah.
together. Or, do you know what? Billy Bigwigs, they're only in it for themselves. And therefore, we don't have the run, we don't have the form that we've had. Chris Davies has worked wonders,
Yeah.
absolute wonders. Um, he has that mentality of you will turn up and you will fight for your shirt. If you don't, you won't play for me. If you don't play for me, you will not play for the club. And that mentality has really sunk in, which I think was very similar with your manager that has moved on to Luton. But
Yeah.
I've got to be honest, I think if I was a Wycombe fan now, I'd be sitting there smirking to myself, thinking, you thought you were going to join a club that was bigger and better, but actually you could end up swapping places. And I know whilst he did a lot for you, if I was a Wycombe fan, there's part of me that would be thinking, do you know what? I want to swap over and I want to say, why didn't you stay? You know, stay with
Yeah.
the journey and give it a go rather than I've got an opportunity, I'm off. Because that's what it certainly seemed to me when he was approached. There was no hesitation. It was okay, he's there, he's number one, he's pretty much going. And it happened very, very, very quickly. But how did it
Yeah.
feel as a Wycombe fan for that to occur? Were you angry with him moving, or was it one where it's like, actually, do you know what? I wish you all the best.
No, I mean Matt's served a significant period of time over 20 years to Wycombe. So, we always knew he was a young, ambitious manager. I think there were a lot of complexities within the club which kind of, lead to him moving on and things like that and different styles and different ways of doing things that maybe, clashed. But actually, when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, he's a League One manager and he's been provided a 3-year contract at a club who's just come down from the Premier League and have got money to throw around. Now, as football fans and as a person who works within that, you have different alignments of priorities and values. And obviously, Matt's priority is his family. So if he's got an opportunity to make himself financially secure for years to come, you don't begrudge him that.
That's
As
right, yeah.
fans, we're sitting there thinking, well, I'm Wickham till I die, and why would I even leave my club even if I got offered a job at Man City, for example? Do you know what I mean? Like, you just your values and your alignments are completely different, but you don't begrudge him. And I think, look, it is if you look at it quite superficially, you do wonder why you've got a side who are on the ascendancy and why you go to a side that are battling relegation and aren't looking too good at the moment. But you got a side that's just come down from the Premier League, offering you a load of money. I really don't blame him at all and wish him well. I think actually going back to what you mentioned about Chris Davies and what I kind of like is our new manager or head coach, sorry, Mike Dodds is kind of aligned, and obviously you'll know of Mike Dodds anyway from his work
Yeah,
with the
that's
Bellinghams
right.
at Birmingham throughout the years. But kind of come from a similar background. I quite like the approach and the way that they kind of take things. Very people focused, but very driven
Yeah.
and goal focused. So I think we've got a lot of optimism, a lot of things to look forward to. And I've always thought about this. I mean, look, we're in second place. I've kind of worked out over the last 10 seasons, we need about 12 more points if we're going to secure a playoff spot, usually.
Yep.
I think you need 3 now. So, this weekend could secure you a playoff spot at least. But, I think regardless of even if we didn't go up this season, we're in such a strong position that we, would be up there next season if we didn't go up. So
building for the future. And you
that's
mentioned
it.
obviously there, yeah, his work and You know, Bellingham stand out because they were the big names.
Of course.
When you think about what Jude's gone on to do, what Job is ultimately capable of doing as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Um, but he also worked with some other great youngsters that also have worked their way through over the years.
We've
So
got
he's
Nathan
got a great
Redmond.
background. Yeah, Nathan
Yeah.
Redmond. Um, you've got the goalkeepers that he'd been involved with. But also, I mean, the other thing is these are kids that have come through an academy structure at Birmingham that didn't have this category one status. It didn't have the backing
No.
from the owners that some of the other clubs have had. So the fact that he could bring the best out of players, he could identify their strengths, work on their weaknesses throughout, is a credit to him. And I think he will do a good job. And it's always that period, isn't it, where you settle in and you're trying to stamp your own authority onto the way the playing style, and you don't want to upset people, or you don't want to change too much, but you can't dwell on the past. And that's that
That's the
stage I think
balance.
you're in at the moment.
It's exactly that, and he's even alluded to that in his interviews. We've seen that he's kind of kept with the core team quite a bit. A lot of the new signings haven't seen time, and everyone on the weekends is on their backs going, "Where's so and so? And where's so and so? Why isn't he playing?" and things like that. But you got to give him. You got to give him a bit of time to bed in. We've had a winning formula for the first part of the season, so you don't want to disrupt that too much. So, but you do need this injection of fresh blood in to kind of get you across the line. As you've quite rightly said, this league and the league below, you Saturday, Tuesday most weekends, and it's
It's unreal.
tiring.
It's
Yeah,
incredible at all.
intense.
So you mentioned there that you've made 12 signings during the January
Yeah.
window, but however, they're not always getting a sniff in the team. So going into the weekend, what can we expect from the new Wycombe side?
Um, I don't think you'd expect too much in terms of changes from what we've seen over the last few weeks, to be honest. We've brought in some championship experience. I mean, the one benefit for us at the moment is it's an odd one. We've gone from a real free scoring side to a side that isn't scoring too much, but we've solidified ourselves massively from a defensive point of view. Now, we've only
Yeah.
conceded one goal in the last 3, 4 games. So, we're looking good from that perspective. But we brought back Caleb Taylor in, who come back from West Brom. He's done very, very well, partnering with Joe Lowe. I mean, he's even kicked Sonny Bradley, who's got that much championship experience out the side for the time being, it just tells you the level of competition we've got.
Mm.
The benefit we've got is we've got Richard Kone coming back, who I'm sure many are familiar with after how he's been this season. So hopefully he'll be back in. He played a few minutes against Wigan, didn't really have too much time to kind of impact the game, but still looked good and still looked raring to go. So, he'll be up for it as well.
So
It's a shame.
what do you class now? So you mentioned there, obviously, there's a more of a defensive strengthening that's taking place
Yeah,
at the moment. So you are not you're not lacking in terms of the strength in the defence. You're not leaking goals.
no,
It's not a constant free for all of people playing against you to score. But going to the goal scoring side of it, that's where I think and I can see that things have dropped away a little bit
yeah,
in
massively.
comparison to how it was at the start. So come Saturday, what sort of do you think structure of the team could we expect? And
I,
if you can
yeah.
name three players that you think we should watch out for, who would they be?
Yeah, so I don't think structurally will change too much. We usually kind of set up with a 4-2-3-1, really. So we'll probably, I'd say if he's fit, Kone will start up top. Um, it depends who we have on the wings. And at the moment, while Kone was injured, the goals dried up a bit. We had Barnsley where we 1-2-1 and he'd scored both of them, Kone. And then after that, we didn't score too many. Daniel Doe's come in. He was at Shrewsbury last season, has done a good job, but kind of needs people to create things for him, and he gets into the goal scoring positions. And the confidence of our wingers over the last few games hasn't been great. Starting to come back into it now, so I'm hoping it's kind of hit at the right time. But Yeah, that's how we'd see it. I mean, three players to watch out for. Obviously, Kone, naturally anyway, scores our goals, creates things from nothing, and just causes a problem for the defence all game. Um, Cam Humphreys is the next one. He's in our midfield. He's on loan from Ipswich, nicknamed the Suffolk Messi, which I think is I don't know whether that's any decent
That's
title or not,
a
but
compliment, that should be, yeah.
it should be a compliment, I guess. He's just been absolutely instrumental for us this season. He's unlocked so many defences, and just controls the play. So he's been very, very good. And then, I mean, we've got quite a few in midfield. Josh Scowen's been fantastic as well. But if I look into defence, it's probably Joe Lowe. Joe was looked at by Swansea in the Championship. Rarely makes a mistake. Very strong, commanding guy. And I mean, considering we got him from, he's playing part of the development squad for Bristol City and has come in and is now touted by Championship clubs, tells you the mark and the measure of the man.
Definitely.
So really, really good at the back. So yeah, I can't see too much of a change. It'd be nice for us to see a couple of the new signings that we've got. We've got a couple of Danish players come in from Norway and Denmark, and they seem to kind of have a bit about them. And then we've also got Xavier Simons from Hull City on loan in midfield as well, who's had a really good couple of games. So I'm looking forward to seeing a bit more of him, I think.
And
Yeah.
you get to meet Birmingham when we seem to be just having injuries galore. So,
Yeah.
we
Well,
know
we've
that
worried
there'll be
about
no
this.
Lyndon Dykes, come the weekend because he is going to be out. We know as well that Wright is now out for the rest of the season
Mm,
as well. So, two of our key kind of attacking areas have had that imbalance. Obviously, Stansfield, he is
yeah.
still on the sidelines after the injury against Bradford in the cup. So it'll make interesting game. But the one thing I can say is, when we look at the rest of the squad, it'll be very, very similar to that you saw when we played you at your place. So it
Yeah.
is going to be interesting. I think pretty much say that your front line is going to be led by Alfie May, who
Yeah, well, this is our worry. I mean,
is
we come up
itching
against
for
Alfie
a
May,
goal.
yeah, and he scores against us a lot as well. So that's what we're worried about. There was a game a few years ago where we played Cheltenham when he was at Cheltenham, and it was a 5-5 draw, and he scored a lot
That's a
of them.
goal, a game and a half. That one.
Yeah, I know. And every time his name pops up, do you know what? For us, because I watched the Reading game that you had on last Saturday just to kind of see what to expect for this weekend, and obviously it was on earlier. Um, yeah, and Dykes seemed to be coming into it a bit more,
Yeah.
so probably a good time for us. It's a shame in some ways because with us being first and second, it would have been a real nice showpiece to have like everyone fully fit and
That's
kind of
it.
just
Full
see
strength sides for
all
both. Yeah.
strength sides exactly. But we'll take it where we come. But as you say, it's when you don't have Stansfield and you don't have Dykes, you still got Alfie May, and yeah, I mean he just we don't like Alfie May.
Alfie May's the nemesis. I like it. Right. I might have to snip that little bit out and constantly play it. So I mean, good little segue actually, because previously on the way end, I've asked for people to name players that have represented both clubs.
Hmm.
This time around, though, changed it up a little bit.
Okay.
And what I want people to do, and your challenge now, is to see if you can name the top 5 goal scorers from the games that have taken place between Wycombe and Birmingham.
Oh
Now,
God.
I feel cruel doing this. Four of the 5, unfortunately for yourselves, are Birmingham players.
That's fine.
However, to make it a little bit easier, all of the top 5 have actually only scored 1 goal.
All right. Okay. Well, I've referenced one beforehand, which was Peter Unlove, so that's going to be one.
Yeah, do you know he's there?
Yeah.
When we go back over the years and the league games, obviously he's not. So who do you
Are
think?
we only going league games only here then?
Yeah. This is league, the one that I've pulled out.
Right.
So
Okay.
I guess the first question is, who do you think it is from Wycombe? I will give you a hint that they were a centre forward, and I say were because they are no longer with you.
All right. Okay. Well, uh, I remember. See, I remember when the championship year we had Fred Onyedinma score against you. So that's one. Oh God, I can't remember who scored the other goal in that game.
It's one where if
Uh,
I gave you the initials, you're going to get it straight away.
oh, go. Let's go bio. Back in Fenway. I can't
It's
remember.
no, it's not. SV.
SV scored for us recently.
Don't know when the goal was.
Championship year.
Not too sure when the goal was. Just know that they were the centre forward that scored against Birmingham SV.
SV for us.
Yep.
Do you know it's going to really annoy me as soon as I find out who it is? Go on then.
Sam Vokes.
Oh, I can't see. He's still here. He's our coach. Like, I don't want to think about that. Sam Vokes. Forgot about him. Yeah.
So yeah, and then I know it's a tough one to ask the opposition, but I'm intrigued to see whether you could name any of the four that are from Birmingham. And what I can say is there is a centre forward, there's a left winger, a
Right.
defensive midfielder, and a central midfielder.
Bloody hell. Right. Okay. I'm going to go Jeff Horsfield because he always seemed to score.
No,
No way. Right. Okay.
think more after, well, it would be after Jeff's years.
You had Andy Johnson, didn't you?
We did, but he's not on there.
Oh,
I'm going to give you one more, and then I'll have to put you out of your misery.
go on.
So, Medin Afti is one of the players. He is
Yeah. Okay.
defensive midfielder. Quincy Owusu-Abayi, who was
I
on both
remember
of
him.
ourselves, who was left wing
Yeah.
that he scored. Sebastian Larson, what a player at the
Did
club.
you have him when we played when he played us?
Yeah, so
Oh,
he
see, I didn't
scored
know
against you.
that.
And finally, Cameron Jerome, goal scoring legend at the club,
Yeah.
and
He
supported
scored
them
against
for
us recently as well, I think. I remember he was playing
So
against us very slow in the end in his
couldn't
final
have those
days.
off. But it gets to that point now where I have to say, Dan, tell me with your head and with your heart what you think the result will be on Saturday.
Right. Do you know what? My head and my heart are quite aligned. I'd be happy coming out of Saturday with a draw. I really would. Because a draw would mean that we keep second. It would mean that yeah, we come out not losing, maintain our unbeaten run. I think it would just give us a lot of confidence. We come into March, really, really difficult month. You know, we've got
Yeah.
yourselves to start off with, Burton on Tuesday after that, who are on the ascendancy and seem to be beating anyone and everyone at the moment. So that's not going to be an easy game by any means. But then we've got Wrexham, we've got Huddersfield if there's no international call-ups. We've got Peterborough, who obviously just got to the final last night to play you
Indeed.
guys. So, you know, these are all very, very difficult sides. So got to be on our toes. This kind of this month, I think, is season defining for us. So we've really got to step up to it. So my head and my heart go with a score draw. I did say on our pod when we recorded it earlier this week that I'd like a 3-3, just for a nice top of the
Just want
table
some
clash.
entertainment, yeah.
Exactly, but I did caveat it and I said, oh, I think we'll be 3-1 up and then you'll score two late goals. Um,
Should
we
have a
have
look at the
these
bookies
games.
odds on that one.
Do you know what? I'd love it, and I should put some money on it if I could. So, um, yeah, I hope it's just an entertaining game. But I hope we don't lose. That's all I'm hoping for. We just don't
I,
lose.
I've said again when we was recording the show and live on Monday that for me the game on Tuesday was key towards
Yeah,
how I think you guys will come to St Andrews at Knighthead Park. And I just said if we'd have come away with a draw, you'd have looked at it from a perspective of, do you know what, we get a win. You know, we're within 4 points then of getting to top.
yeah,
Whereas us taking that win and being 9 clear, adds a little bit of pressure, but the additional pressure on top of that is the game in hand that we still have. So it's
to be honest with you, we're fine with you winning the league. Look, you're going up. You're going up. As long as we fill that second spot come the end of the season, that's all we're bothered about. We're accepting of the fact that you're going to be first. You're 9 points clear now. See you later. Have a nice season next season. But as long as we're second.
I've said that I think that you will come with an attacking prowess and actually probably come at us, which in the current way that we are playing will almost play into our favour because we like the counter-attacking football and we've got the pace then going down the wings as well. So I think it's going to make for an interesting game. I'm going to stick with the prediction that I made on the show on Monday, which was that I think it'll be tight, but Birmingham will come away with a 2-0 win. However, I do believe that you are strong enough to stay in second. I as much as everybody goes on about Wrexham, I just can't see them, especially after last night and the way that they're going to feel because they're going to be so disheartened. But I still think you've got the strength and the depth as well to continue and take second spot. So
we hope so.
Indeed.
We hope so.
So Dan, thank you very much for joining me on the away end in association with AMG Logistics. It has been great to catch up over the 2 games this season. I hope we have as much of an entertaining game on Saturday as we did the last time that we played. But also, I hope that next season we are doing this again, but instead in the Championship. So
absolutely,
thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the season. End it on a high, apart from the game on Saturday. And
same to you.
Keep right on. Thanks a lot.